All right, so I was going through my fridge crisper and I forgot that I had cuttings. These are some blueberry ones that have just been sitting in a damp paper towel um, since November, December, probably right around the winter, right? Um, Paper towel in a plastic bag, and some of them have started to leaf. I've got some growth on pretty much each one of these has some type of nice green leafy green, which is kind of cool because I've never propagated blueberries before, so I completely forgot that these were in the fridge when I wanted to take them out during the winter and do them. So I was like, ah, damn, I can't remember where they were, but they're in great shape. So I've been watching a bunch of other people do it, and they do it a whole mess of different ways, and I don't know which way is the best, which will be best for me. So I'm gonna try, now that these have some type of life to them, and they're still good, they're still doing fine. Some people put them in water for a couple weeks just to see if they start to flower more and if this stem and stalk is still going to be viable. And then they transplant it into a medium. So I've seen people put it into just buckets where there's sand and they just leave it alone, and in 6 months, 8 months, a year, time goes by, they develop their root systems. They start to put off a little bit more growth. Some might put out the flowering buds, and then others tend to cut those off so that the root systems grow much stronger on these. So I'm going to give that a try. I saw someone that said that they used raw honey in a water mixture for the first 2 weeks, and that's supposed to be helpful. I've seen others use just pure rooting hormone as they've dipped them into, dip the ends and then put them right into their medium. So I think with these I'm going to try, and it's just because now it's May, right? We're in May. Yeah, it's May here in New Jersey, so zone 7A. So I'm just going to give them a try. I mean, it's not the ideal time. I probably should have started these a couple months ago indoors and whatnot too. So I'm going to use these. I'm going to put these in this honey water mixture for the next couple of weeks, see what happens. If all goes well with them, if they continue to show some life and they keep budding, I'll then pop them into a sand mixture. So I'll get myself a small bucket with sand, some pretty good drainage, and then let it do its thing. Let it sit there, keep it out of the sun for a good while, and see what happens. It's always trial and error with these things, but hey, blueberry cuttings that you're just going to throw away become more blueberry trees, and more blueberry bushes for yourself. So every year if you're pruning, you have the opportunity to make more blueberry bushes for yourself, your family, give them to your friends. These live up to like 40, 50 years when they're fully mature and they're out there. Like our two that are out in our backyard are about 4 feet tall, but maybe they're about 10 years old, so they're super mature. They've got a lot of growth. They give me a lot of blueberries to harvest in the seasons. So I mean, it's free. It takes a little time if you're okay with it, but really you're just doing some stuff with them, planting them, leaving them alone, and just checking on them. Like, they need a lot of water, they need moisture. So make sure whatever you're using, you're always watering it. If you're good with time, water it daily. If you have it in a specific area, maybe you have a greenhouse, you have something that you're using as a greenhouse, and you have a timer on something to for water, then use that as well. But I'm no pro at this, so I'm trying as well. So I like to just take these videos and show everybody and see what I can take from everybody else's info and see what works best for me, and then just pass it on, because it's new stuff for me. It's fun for me. I like doing them, and I also have a couple other experiments going on where these are my blueberry cuttings that I forgot but are still fantastic. And then over here I have the blueberry cuttings that I just cut. So we're going to see what comes about on any of these. I don't know if any of these will do any good. They're starting to brown at the bottom, so I don't think that's going to end up taking. This was super fresh kind of cutting. I took it because it was nice and thick, but it's this year's growth from maybe about like 3 weeks ago that they've been putting off, and there were a lot of the sucker ones that were shooting straight up. So they were stuff that needed to come out and be pruned anyway, but I just wanted to give it a try. In here we have some of our nectarine cuttings, some Fuji apple cuttings, and some more fig cuttings. I have my old fig from winter cuttings. I have a bunch down there, so they got some nice roots going on in there. They're starting to do their flowering thing and all that fun stuff. So I've been propagating the figs pretty consistently for the last year, and I have a great success rate for myself in using water, then moving it into a mixture of like sand and peat moss before finally planting into the ground. So these are from cuttings from the winter that were in the fridge, and then I took them out. These have been there for about a month and a half, maybe about a month and a half. And then these are just brand new cuttings. I cut them about 2 weeks ago, but they're still beautiful, thriving, looking great. So I'm trying to see if I can actually root something from brand new growth, and it looks like it might happen. So I've got some stuff coming out here, some of these things that'll lead to becoming roots on that one and on here as well. So I mean, it might happen, which would kind of be pretty cool. I've never really rooted something from what just grew out a couple weeks ago, so that'll be interesting. I was always told you can't do that, so if it does work, that'd be kind of cool, because then that means you can propagate your figs all year long, regardless of what climate type and purpose and how old the cuts are. So yeah, so we'll see what goes on. So that's fig, Fuji apple, nectarines, and some of the fresh blueberry cuttings, which probably won't have a fun rate of success, but these are going to be pretty interesting to see. So we'll do the honey water mixture and let them sit for a little while, and I'll keep you updated with videos on this channel and see what goes on. So remember, propagate all you want to do. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. That's right. I had someone ask me about the tomato. So here we go. So the store-bought tomato from Sam's Club that had like a bunch of tomatoes on the vine roots incredibly quick and pretty awesome, like very full. So had this been an actual tomato that had leaves on it, so if it was on a plant and you cut one off of a plant that had leaf growth and was a lot longer than this, you can then put that into water and expect roots like this, and then continuously keep planting those cuttings that you take off your own tomato plant and have more tomato plants basically for yourself. So again, you can do that as much as you want. This was just a random cutting from the stem that was holding the tomatoes together, and I just wanted to see how quick they'd root and what they would look like, and I'm not disappointed. This is pretty cool. I don't know if I would plant this that something would actually grow out of it. I don't think it would, because there's no growth area at the top. Like I don't think or foresee this growing anything. So I'm gonna put it in some type of dirt in the next couple of days just to kind of see what it can do in some potting soil and see what happens. But yeah, no, I mean, does its trick, right? So this is just with a tomato cutting from a regular store-bought tomato vine. But like I said, if you have your tomatoes, if you're at a friend's house, cut your friend's tomatoes, vines, take them, put them in water, and you're gonna get those as well. And the same thing happens with grapes. I know grapes are a harder process of things to do, but they pretty much start to grow their roots the same way these tomato cuttings did. So unless you have nice, long, thick vines, like the vines that come off of these, like all of these aren't good. Some of these are dead already. But if you're lucky enough, you get like grapes that have nice, long, thick vines and they're still pretty green, you could take them, throw them into water just like this tomato part was, and they're going to start to leaf out and root for you just as well. So that would be cool, because then you could just have the root vine continuously growing for yourself and go from there. And again, trial and error. Try it. If it works, it's not bad. If it's not, then enjoy the grapes you bought and then throw this stuff out, right? All right. Well, have a good rest of the week, people. Talk to you soon.